like, I know that you were doing like fitness modeling and bodybuilding and stuff like that. So what was it like in that environment, you know, integrated with like, you know, your beliefs and things like that?
Yeah. Well, that was the first place I ran to sort of find myself, was in fitness. I was competing in CrossFit like super heavily. It was like the outlet that I went to escape my painful marriage.
Yeah.
And I was in the gym. I was training 3 sessions a day. I was trying to go to regionals and all that stuff. So I was like extremely fit, like ridiculously fit. So when I moved to California, I just went right into modeling. I just like sent some pictures to a few modeling agencies and they were like, yeah, we want to hire you.
Yeah.
So I started modeling. And then shortly after that, people were like, you should compete in bodybuilding. Like, great. So I did that, won my first 2 shows, went to nationals.
Yeah.
By the time I got to nationals, that's when the second and real spiritual awakening happened, where I sort of just walked out of my former life. I quit my modeling job. I retired from bodybuilding because I saw through that experience of seeing what my mind really was, how incredibly fragile the mind actually is. I saw that identity is just slavery. You know, that's all it really is. You enslave yourself to a concept, and then you have to serve that concept and live up to it constantly.
Yeah.
And in bodybuilding, it's like if your physique starts to, you know, or fitness modeling, if your physique starts to slip a little bit, you stress, anxiety, self-deprecating thoughts, you start, you know, dieting harder, taking pills or whatever, anything you can to preserve that concept of I'm in shape, I'm super fit, I have 6-pack. If any of that gets threatened, the mind freaks out.
Yeah.
And it's in the same way that, you know, physical pain is our body's way of saying, hey, the body's in danger and needs attention, right? Mental pain or suffering is the mind saying, hey, my mental body, my identities are in trouble and they need protection.
Yeah.
Some kind of loss or change has happened that's threatening my concept of self. And the suffering we experience as a result is the mind's way of motivating us to go get that identity back, to fulfill that concept.
Yeah.
And I saw all of that in my spiritual awakening. And I just went, I want nothing to do with that way of life anymore. So I kind of just decided to become nobody, you know, just be empty of everything. And it was through doing that I found that that's actually where true happiness and peace of mind is found.
Yeah. It's, you know, like kind of what you described there. Like, it's kind of like you're trying to live up to that persona. You know what I mean? Like, this is how people perceive me. And you're almost trying to, you get all that gratification, you get that sort of acceptance, and you're getting, especially in bodybuilding, because, you know, bodybuilding is all about, you know, the image in a sense. And when I do this right, everything goes right. So I better make sure that this persona that I have, and that I keep it safe and I do it. And then when it's threatened, like you said, your mind kind of goes, what are you doing? You can't do that. Like, you're going to lose everything. Like, all
your value is gone.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, it kind of, so what was sort of going through your mind when you did go through the, like the bodybuilding, the fitness? Was it kind of like you were trying to get that sort of were you trying to find acceptance because of what you just went through with, you know, your divorce and things like that? What was really like, you know, filling your cup in a sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was totally a compensatory way of trying to fill my insecurities.
Yeah.
When I was married, I never struggled with feeling not attractive. Like I knew that, because I would get attention from other women and stuff. And like my wife literally wouldn't care. Like her own friends would like be flirty and stuff. And she didn't even seem to care, which is kind of also why I could tell something's off here.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't like, oh, I'm not attractive, nobody likes me, I need to look attractive. But it was more like not feeling wanted by somebody for 5 years, just left this, and I say left, but really it's programmed into the mind by evolution that you are incomplete, you are lacking, you need to go complete yourself by doing something great, accomplishing something, right? That's nature speaking. And so it really just amplified that voice in my head that, hey, you're incomplete. You got to find where your value is, man. Where do people see that you have anything to offer? And it was fitness, right? So go bodybuild, go win trophies. That'll make you happy. And I very quickly saw, by being in that environment, it was really at the shows that I saw it, because, you know, the training for the shows was just a blast. I'm just working out every day, getting in shape. It's what I love.
Yeah.
But when I got to the show, I saw this huge difference between sort of like where I was at in my own walk of life and where most guys were at. You know, I was very, you know, spiritually minded. Most of the things going through my head all day are about philosophy and the nature of reality and the universe and all that stuff. And these other guys didn't seem to be like that. It was like their appearance absorbed all their attention. And so I'm walking around in the back room, the pump up room and stuff. And like every single guy is like staring at themselves in the mirror. And, I felt like embarrassed to be there. Like I felt like I was associated with these people, and I saw how incredibly vain and shallow and empty it all was.
Yeah.
And I started to get very uncomfortable in that environment. So literally by my third show, Nationals in Las Vegas, I placed in the top 5. And if you place in the top 2 spots at Nationals, you get your pro card and you become a pro bodybuilder.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they placed me 4th. And so you get a really great trophy. Hey, you're 2 spots away from a pro card, your first Nationals attempt. That's really great. I did not care, man. I did not even show up to the finals to get my trophy.
Yeah,
I was like, let some other guy have it. That's how uninterested I was in that lifestyle. So there was a really radical shift happening inside me where I was finding myself a bit by seeing what I wasn't. Like, oh, this definitely isn't me. And that's definitely not me. And I think that's the only way we ever truly do find ourselves.
Yeah. In those moments where, you kind of have to be, you have to be, I forgot what the saying is, but, you know, you find out what you're not by, you find out what you're not by, you know, putting yourself in the environment where, you know, you think you are in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to do it to find out you don't like it in a sense.
Totally.
So what was sort of like, so, you know, did you do it alone? Did you have your family support? You know, like what was pushing you to do it in the first place?
The bodybuilding? I had a lot of friends and people who, when I was doing CrossFit, even years before that, who would say, man, your physique, you look like a bodybuilder. You should do bodybuilding. And I thought, no, I don't want to do that stupid sport. You know, there's nothing athletic about it. It's, you know, it's like a beauty contest. It's very subjective. But I started working at Google in Mountain View here in California. And I didn't have the time to train for CrossFit like I used to, like 2 to 3 sessions a day. So I was like, well, I can't compete in CrossFit if I can't train for it. So I said, I want to compete in something. And people had still been saying, hey, you should try bodybuilding. So I just did it. I got myself a coach. And my coach was like really hyped and like, man, we're going to make you a pro. So for a while, that was my whole identity. Like, yeah, I'm going to be a pro bodybuilder. That's going to be great. Yeah. And after the first 2 shows, I won the shows. Like I got first place. Yeah. And it didn't do anything for me. I didn't feel any sense of fulfillment that I thought I would feel. It was just like on to the next thing. And so I didn't even want to go to nationals, but because I had qualified and won my first 2 shows, my coach was like, dude, you're going to go pro on your first nationals time. You got to go. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I've come this far. I've done it. You know, I might as well. Yeah. And that was a big lesson for me in don't do things you don't want to do, period. Yeah. Don't do it.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I like that you brought that up because, you know, a big thing that, you know, I, you know, try and, you know, share and things like that is, you know, your environment has such a huge impact on your decisions, right?
Oh, yeah. You are your environment in a way, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like it's, and trying to get, you know, if people are going through, you know, any sort of, you know, shift in mindset or they're trying to find themselves or they're a little bit in that vulnerable state, your environment is kind of one of the things you really want to be aware of. 100%.
Yeah, that's a big one too that I saw through my spiritual awakening. Was this idea of being a separate individual self was a total illusion, a total sham. It's just programmed by nature, right? That to think that we're separate. But when you investigate that idea, it just breaks down instantly, right? Like, where can I find a place where I stop and my environment starts or the world starts? I can't find that boundary line. Like, I need the very oxygen I breathe outside my body just to live. I need the sun to shine. I need the food to eat. I need all my relationships. I saw that the people I'm around, every aspect of my environment is dictating all my decisions.
Yeah.
So in a way, I'm actually being lived, not living life. Like life is moving through me based on everything's connected, right? So I can't really say that Aaron, as a separate individual, isolated entity from life, has his own free will to do what he wants to do. So that doesn't exist. I am being deeply influenced and moved by the world, by my environment at all given times. And to the ego, that sounds like a terrible thing. Oh, no, I have no free will. I'm not separate. Oh, what could be worse?
Yeah.
But actually, to me, that was where peace and liberation was found, because I saw that, oh, no, it's not that that I don't have free will. It's that I am the world. I am all of it. Like the world is my body. You could almost say I have a physical body and a universal body, and I simply cling to one and I'm afraid of the other one. Right. But the universe, the whole universe in that sense is my body, because it's all connected. And if I can see that and accept that and flow with the universe and accept what it brings me, then actually things start to shape up really well for me and I start to find happiness. So I just saw that I make myself an enemy towards life. Life has never been my enemy. I've just been thinking and imagining that it was.
So, was that sort of your tipping point when, like, you know, after you went through the, like, because that's where we, you know, start to dive into, you know, oneness and all that sort of, like, so would you say when you went through, like, when you started going through that stuff with the bodybuilding, was it kind of like, was that the point where you started going into that sort of mindset shift of, you know, what's really going on?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that was a really pivotal time of change and transformation for me, because for, you know, my whole marriage, I found my identity in fitness, in CrossFit and all that. And then, you know, modeling after that was like, as soon as I was single again, it was like, oh, I'm a fitness model. That's where I find value. And then that broke down really quick. I didn't find any sense of real happiness there. And then bodybuilding broke down. And so I was kind of left being like, who is Aaron and what makes Aaron happy and what do I live for? And it came down to basically what I just said, which is I just want to be happy and at peace. And I have to figure out what I'm doing, what I'm thinking and believing about myself that's blocking me from having that peace. Because it's not life that's taking my peace from me or is my enemy that's trying to cause me suffering. I realized I am the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got to figure myself out.
Yeah. How much do you think that, you know, when you did start going through A Course in Miracles, when you did start, like, you know, basically integrating it into your life, how did everything start shifting for you?
Oh man, just overnight almost. I think this is the way that all spiritual truth comes alive in you and is made manifest in you, is that it actually just happens totally automatically. If there's still effort being put into integration, that's totally okay and that's fine and a valid part of the journey, but it means that you don't truly get it yet.
Yeah.
Because when you really get it, it happens by itself, in the same way that, like, a simple analogy might be, if I walk down a certain dark alley at night and I get mugged, right? Well, it doesn't take any effort for me to not walk down that alley again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It would actually take effort to go down the alley. I'd have to force myself to do it because I understand the danger of it now.
Yeah.
And that's the way spiritual truth works. It's like you see the truth at work in your life. You understand, like you hear a truth like projection, let's say, where it says, like, you only suffer at the hands of your own imagination. Everything you're seeing is your own ideas about yourself being placed onto somebody else. And that's what you're judging. And an immature, let's say, soul would go, that's horse shit. I am not either projecting. It really is their problem and not mine.
Yeah.
So they're not going to see it, bottom line. But when I check with my experience and go, yeah, you know, I can see how when I was in high school, I hated everybody because I hated myself. I was so insecure. I hated everything about myself. So how could I have loved anybody? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Once I can check with my experience, see that it's true, then all of a sudden my awareness just catches it. right?
Yeah.
I just recognize if I'm judging someone, I go, oh, that's actually just me. That's not their problem. I'm the one being a jerk here, right? It doesn't take any effort. And so that's what happened for me with the course, was like, it was so crystal clear. The message just penetrated to the depths of my heart that it just kind of lined up in my life. And I stopped judging people. I realized every time I do that, I'm hurting myself. I'm denying love for myself when I judge someone else. If I want to stop suffering, I need to just have compassion on people. I need to understand they're struggling, they're in pain. I don't even know what they're going through. So if somebody's being a jerk to me, let me just give them some grace, because maybe they're having a really awful week. Maybe they just got diagnosed with cancer. Maybe their mom just died. Maybe who knows what, right? Yeah. Maybe I'm the problem by thinking that other people should always treat me how I want, and not realizing all these people are on a journey like me, dealing with pain, dealing with trauma, dealing with challenges. And if I can have grace for them and forgiveness for them, then actually I have that same grace for myself, right? I stop beating myself up when I mess up, and I can forgive myself for all my mistakes. And that's where peace and liberation is.
And, a lot of healing comes from that too, like you don't stress at all, which is,
oh yeah, dude, that's really how healing happens, man. In my experience, it's like you have to see the person you would be if you didn't have that negative thought, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't believe that negative thing about yourself, what would I be like? What would my life be like? What would my quality of consciousness be like? And you can start to say, oh man, that would be radical. That'd be awesome. And basically what happens is you fall in love with that version of you, And then as you fall in love with something, you just embody it, right? Again, effortlessly. It's not like you have to try to be the person. You just have to want to be the person.
Yeah.
And as soon as you really desire change, the desire for change is the change.
Yeah.
Right? When you want the new thing more than you want the old thing, that's when the change happens. And we think that wanting something means only positive attention, and it doesn't, right? From the universe's perspective, negative attention is also desire. It's just negative desire. So if you have this obsession with negative thinking about yourself, and I say, well, why do you want to be a negative person? You go, but I don't want to be a negative person. I hate it. It brings me all this suffering. Then why do you give it so much attention?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because from the universe's point of view, it's going, oh, wow, this person really enjoys thinking about negative stuff all day. So let's just keep dishing it out. There's a teaching from the course that says no idea can leave its source. Yeah. So like you start to see this truth, right? Which is like, if I decide to get all bent out of shape over the guy who's driving slow in the fast lane, guess what? I'm the one who suffers, not them.
That's right. Yeah.
And all that's happening, I'm creating my own misery. And as soon as you see that, you stop doing it. It's like all change truly happens in an instant. All change. We think change takes time because it actually takes us time to get to the place where we accept the truth, right? But really, when we see the truth for what it is, the shift happens instantly. There's no process. The process happens to get us to the place where we can see truth. Yeah. So it's really just, can you see the truth is the only problem. Everything that leads up to that point is just the person working out its conditioning and biases to where it can actually see reality the way it is.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love how you put that stuff. It's like, how do you do that?